Hey guys, did you know that farmers and gardeners are actually scientists? What does that mean, a scientist? Well, simply put, a scientist is simply anyone who is a good observer and a good thinker, which means any of us can be scientists as long as we are good at looking and good at thinking about things. We're going to be scientists today about plants just like farmers and gardeners are. Now, before we get into that, let's take a look at what we already know about plants and what they need. Plants need soil. And as I've talked before to my class about this, there's a difference between dirt and soil, and we'll take a closer look at that outside. Plants also need sun. Plants need water. Now, there's a couple of different places that plants can get water from. We'll talk about that too. Plants need air. Now, I haven't talked too much about that. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail. We're going to be focusing on the other things in addition to this one right here. Plants need love. And all that means is plants can do better with our help. We play a big role in how the plants around us do. So, without saying anything further, let's go outside and get into these other things. Hey guys, we are out here in my garden right now, and I am going to show you where I am thinking about planting our beans. This is a little bed right here that I made, and I usually plant tomatoes and some other things in here, and I wanted to talk to you guys about the difference first of soil and dirt, because there is a difference. Let's take a closer look. Now, here we have a bed that I've prepared and mixed in a lot of things to help make the soil richer. Now, one thing that we know about plants is plants have roots, and roots go into the soil to get the food that they need. Now, if we look outside the bed right here, this is dirt. Now, one thing about dirt, like this dirt right here, it's not always the best area for plants to grow. Plants can still grow here, but they just can't do as well. And there's a few reasons. For one thing, this dirt right here is really hard. And if I take my trowel, my little shovel here, and I push it in, it is kind of hard. And you could imagine roots trying to dig down into this hard dirt. They can do it, but they just can't do it as well. It's going to be harder for them to go down and get the food they need. Also, this dirt, it doesn't have what's called a lot of organic material, which are things like stems and leaves that break down and create the food that plants love and help make them healthy. Now, if we take a look over here, we can see this is the area that I prepared, and this is really good soil. And if we take our shovel and kind of dig into it, you see it's a lot softer. You can just imagine roots going down into this are not going to have any kind of problem getting down in there and finding the food that they need. Now, one thing this soil also has, you can see a lot of, again, that word organic material. Those are things like these roots and little sticks and stems that over time just kind of break down and actually turn into food for the plants. So I'm thinking if I plant our garden beans in here, they're going to do a lot better in this soil than in this dirt over here. So one of the things we talked about, plants need soil. Obviously, the better the soil that they're growing in, and the more soil they have, the more food that they're going to be able to have, and hopefully the taller they'll grow, the healthier they will be. Now, real quickly, the way I made this soil a lot richer and better is by adding things that I bought at the local hardware store. This stuff right here is garden soil for flowers and vegetables. And again, it has a lot of the stuff that plants love. Now, another thing, like those it has a lot of the thing that those plants, it has a lot of the things that plants need, like that organic stuff. Now, another thing I added was this right here, chicken manure. Now, another word for manure, I'm going to tell you right now, boys and girls, it's poop. So these two things are actually really good for plants. When you mix it in with the soil, it gives the soil a lot more food that the plants love. And so that's all mixed in there. So we got some nice healthy soil. We also have another thing coming down, a little bit of rain, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But let's move on and do some planting. Okay guys, I'm out here with Lucas and Elle. They're going to be helping me plant the plant right now. And I've marked a little spot right here. They're going to be digging a big enough hole for us to put the plant in. So guys, why don't you go ahead and get started. Now, as they're doing that, I wanted to show you this. And one thing I said earlier is giving our plants love. And I'll tell you, I already broke another one of our stems. And we're just going to have to see how well they're going. So 2 out of 3 of them are kind of broken. It's windy a bit, so I'm going to try and give as much love as I can and try not to hurt any more of these. Now, to take this soil out so we can put it in the ground, what I'm going to actually do is use some scissors and cut just the plastic part right here to try and remove this carefully. So I'll cut through right here, and how's that hole coming along? A little bit deeper, guys.
Okay.
Okay. And once here, I'm trying not to cut through the roots at all. Yeah, that's actually really good, guys. Okay, so you can see what I'm doing right here is cutting this out, and I'm going to take this little, what's sometimes called a root ball for a plant. You can see this soil's kind of breaking apart here, and we are going to carefully, here, can you guys help me out with this?
Okay.
Check this out. Okay, don't break apart that soil. We are going to put it in. Excellent, excellent. Just like that. And Elle, yeah, can you start covering that up? Lucas, you can too. We can use our hands just to kind of move that around, keep it nice and loose. Now, let's get in here a little bit closer, guys. And as we can see, okay, that's enough. We don't want to put too much on top. As we can see, these plants are kind of just bending over right here, and I'm going to actually get something that's going to help keep these plants up a little bit. Okay guys, what I actually have right here is half of a tomato cage. Now, a tomato cage is something that's used for my tomatoes over here. I put cages around them so as they grow up, they're going to have some support. And I'm actually going to use this for our garden beans. And what I can do is I can push this into the ground here, like this. And that way, this is going to be able to have some support. And I can actually bend this a little bit more like this. I'm going to put these guys up here. Like this. And hopefully have some support. Okay, so it's not raining a whole bunch right now. Since we just planted it, the first thing we want to do is give it a good drink of water. So we're going to do that from our hose. Lucas, why don't you go ahead and show us how to do it? Okay. And then Elle, you'll take over in just a second. So now when we're watering these, we want to make sure we're watering just around the base, because it's the roots that take the water. So go ahead, just put a little bit on there. You don't want to have the water come out real hard, because actually what can happen if the water is coming out really hard and forceful is it's going to remove a lot of that soil, and it could hurt or damage our roots. Now, one thing you also want to try not to do is try not to water the plant itself. It's okay if you get some water on it, it's okay, but in general, whenever you're watering plants, you just want to water the soil because it's actually just the roots that need the water. The leaves and the stem don't need the water. I'd say a little bit more. Let's get that in all the way. Let's get it all the way over here. We want to just get a good deep watering so the soil is getting lots and lots of water. Okay. I'll let them keep watering a bit more and we'll stop right there. Okay, so we have some good stuff going for us. We gave our plant some extra soil in this nice rich soil bed here. We gave it a little support. We gave it some water. A couple things that I'm curious about. Now we have some extra bends and breaks on these stalks. I did not do such a good job of keeping that plant safe, and so they're kind of broken, and we're just going to have to see how well it does. Can it heal itself? Is it going to hurt the plant over time? One of these is pretty good, so that one might be healthier than the others. But in any case, we'll check in on this plant over time and see how well it does. If you guys want to plant your plants in the garden, try and find a place where there's some nice soil. If you don't have it, why don't you just plant it in some dirt and see how well it does? Okay guys, I'll be checking out and checking back in with you later on this. Okay guys, that's it for our videos today. Thank you so much for watching, and again, thank you for sending in all that amazing work you've been doing. I do need to say that this is probably going to be the last time I'm going to be sharing your work over these videos. I'm going to be looking into Google Classroom, and I think I can do it that way as well. If you send in more work, I might not be sharing it with you. I just want to let you know. But in any case, let's go to our first item here that Casey shared with us. And again, this was on ways he could help out at home. And he said here, I can help cook. I can also clean my Legos. Awesome job, Casey. Kendra said, how do you help at home? I help my dad do the dishes. Excellent job and great picture. Andrew made a list. 5 ways I can work at home. Wash dishes, put away clothes, clean up, vacuum, and sweep. Excellent list, Andrew. And finally, Gabe went ahead and did the last page in his seed journal, and in that he said, my plant grew big. It is 7 inches tall. Awesome job on that, Gabe, and also great colorful picture. Okay, things to do today. Again, we talked about plants. If you have a plant at home, boys and girls, I'd like you to decide where you will plant your plants. You have some options here. Number 1, if you'd like to plant that outside in your garden in nice rich soil, kind of like I did today, you can do that. You'll need some help from your parents. If you'd like to put it outside in the garden in just regular dirt, maybe you don't have soil, give that a try. Number 3, you could put that in a bigger pot or container. Also, you're going to need some extra soil for that. You'll also need some help from your parents. You can give that a shot. Or if you just like to leave it in the plastic cup that it's in now, you can certainly do that. Of course, over time, I'd like you guys to water and care for your plants over the next month or 2 and observe to see what happens. I'll occasionally be checking in with you guys and showing what's happening with a plant that I put in the backyard, and maybe you can do the same and check in with me and send me pictures of how yours is doing. Today I'd also like you to watch Mystery Doug's new video on 1 way to kill germs. It's a cool one. I think you guys will like it. And then of course at the end you can vote on which video you'd like to see next week. And finally, I'm going to be sending home some worksheets to my families. I'd like you to do those at some point. One is on the bean plant life cycle, and a few more on the long A vowel sound. And hopefully I'll have a chance to talk to you guys and give a lesson a little bit more on our long vowel sounds and how to make those and how to read those. Okay. Some other websites, I showed this the other day. If there's one particular one I'd like you guys to look at, maybe for today or the next couple days, is abcya.com. Now they have many different activities, and they have some on getting familiar with your keyboard. If you guys have a computer at home and you're able to get on it, it's never too early, I think, for you guys to start learning the keyboard, where the different letters are. This can not only help you with knowing which keys to type when you're spelling on the computer, but also just, again, identifying those letter shapes, those letter sounds, and there's some good activities you can find on that. Last but not least, I just wanted to say, be good, boys and girls. Be listening to your parents. Make sure you are good to your brothers and sisters. Reaching out to family members that aren't at home with you. If you're not able to visit grandma, grandpa, aunts, uncles, make sure you guys are calling them, telling them how much you miss them and love them. And of course, I'd like you guys to all make sure that you are being well. Make sure you're healthy and just together with your families and enjoying yourselves. All right, boys and girls, that's it for me. I will see you tomorrow.